Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Gamecast, episode 640. I'm one of the hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy,
What's up?
Corey Fines. Oh, no, he's not even here. Tony
Oh,
Korkanakis.
oh,
Hello, hello.
Yeah, like I said, Corey's not here. He's actually on vacation, folks. He's down in Florida. Have fun, Corey. But welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to this episode. We are live on Twitch about 8:30 now. We start 8 o'clock, usually Tuesday nights. Please join us. Leave us questions, comments. We're going to have a conversation tonight about games. This is the Gamecast. If you don't catch it live, we are on YouTube the following day. So smash that subscribe and that like button if you're watching us on that channel. We appreciate it. Thank you. Gamecast, folks. It's been a busy week. There's been a beta. There's been a used game purchase that I feel bad now purchasing used, sort of, because it's very good. And then we had Tony going to it was PAX, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, geez, kick us off with PAX. I want to hear about PAX.
Yeah, so it was pretty good weather for most of the weekend, which is nice because PAX always falls in that like early spring, late winter era where it can be like, oh, you're gonna have a blizzard or whatever stuff like that. Fortunately, none of that this time around. Definitely busy though. I believe this is going. I think the show sold out actually. By the
Impressive,
end of the
actually. Back to the olden style. Yeah.
Yeah, because ever since COVID, obviously, that kind of kicked things down. Attendance, or besides from that, but exhibitors, better than last year. Still not up to pre-COVID levels. There's some major players missing, like
with it selling out again next year.
Next year, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft didn't even have a booth. Sony didn't have a booth. Capcom didn't have a booth. Square Enix.
Capcom didn't have a booth?
Yeah,
wow.
Capcom didn't even have a booth. Square Enix, they were there, but they didn't have a booth. They were they did some panels, which I'll talk about in a moment here. But
cool. Okay.
Nintendo was there, but the only games they had to demo were fucking old Mario games. They had a statue of Link at the front entrance, which was cool. You could pose with it for a pin, stuff like that. And all they were looping on the one TV right next to it was just the Tears of the Kingdom trailer. And I'm just like, man, you guys are awfully bold and awfully confident in this game to be this close to release date. It's almost April now. One more month essentially, and it's like you guys are just going to leave us hanging, which was ironic because we had a Zelda 10-minute presentation today that they announced yesterday. So it was like, what? You couldn't have done this at PAX. Like,
you could have given the PAX people this.
They're not worried about this game at all. That's why they don't mind about that $70 price point. They know it's going to sell.
No, they absolutely do. It's just funny. It's like, you guys want to market this, right? And I mean, to a better degree. I mean, it's like Capcom. I mean, you think they want to be there with Street Fighter 6 or Resident Evil 4 that came out that weekend.
And like Capcom notoriously has a great booth at PAX.
Yeah,
even like in the days where it was like overcrowded and I feel like Microsoft and them were already phasing back a little bit. Capcom still had an amazing booth. They always did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they could have easily had Resident Evil there because it was launching that weekend. Could have sold a lot of copies to people. Be like, oh yeah, I'll pick it up at PAX and stuff like that. And Street Fighter 6 is coming out, and they weren't there. They did have a couple booths that were allowed to have Street Fighter 6 running, so that was cool. The one booth, I forget which one it was called, actually had this really interesting old school premise contest where it was like, hey, whoever can have the longest winning streak this weekend is going to win this like rig or I think a PC setup and stuff like that. And I think the last I checked it was like 30 wins or something like that in a row. So that was pretty cool. Like, I mean, for somebody that like, for a game that's not completely out, for somebody to run a gauntlet of 30 wins is pretty impressive. So that was cool. But yeah, I mean, PAX, I feel they really nailed the layout down. It's a lot better in terms of just balancing the exhibit floor with like the tabletop gaming area. Plus, they have a lot more food options now. In addition to the food court, you have the food truck vendors. You even have a couple of the vendors inside the actual exhibit hall. So if you really want to eat, you don't even have to like go out of the exhibit hall. You can and they have designated eating areas too and stuff like that. So The layout's way better. They actually, maximize their use of space and stuff like that. And you could tell even Thursday was pretty crowded, and usually that's a free day.
Yeah, that's light day. I like that one usually.
Yeah.
That's the get the layout where I have to hit right now, or
yeah. Yep.
Don't go near here on Saturday kind of.
Oh,
that's the
absolutely.
usual. Yeah.
Saturday was a shit show. But for me personally, the highlight was the Final Fantasy 14 and 16 panel. So for those who don't know, Naoki Yoshida is the producer of both Final Fantasy 14 and the upcoming 16 game. So Square Enix brought him in to do a presentation on 16 on Saturday, which was like the main headline event. But Friday he had a panel for the Final Fantasy 14 players. And mind you, they only announced it officially like a month before the show. And they had the official FF14 Twitter account talk about it, and they even had like a blog post about it. And like, oh yeah, and like the first 150 people in line each day will get an autograph session with him. Now, the best way I can describe this is like he is like what Miyamoto is to Nintendo, or like Neil Druckmann is to like Last of Us and whatnot.
Naughty Dog.
Like he's just like the rock star face of that game, or like what's his name, Jeff Kaplan when he was on Overwatch. Like he is the face of this MMO and stuff like that. So as soon as they announced that, Saturday tickets sold out for PAX. So Friday I was like, okay, I'm actually going to put forth the effort to be one of the first 150 in line so I can get the autograph session and not fuck around with the Saturday shenanigans, because that's always the worst day.
Oh, yeah.
So I got there first thing, like even before the show officially opens up, because you can just go in, and as long as you're not trying to go in the expo hall, you can like go around the convention just walking and stuff like that. So I'm one of the first 20 people in line, counted. I'm like, okay, cool, this is sweet. Now, instead of being at the main like auditorium on the top floor, the Friday session was just in one of those side rooms on like the second floor, which is bizarre because it doesn't fit as many, obviously. And I feel bad for the enforcer that was over there. Not bad for PAX, because they actually really ran it like a shit show, like amateur hour. Because I think they just underestimated the craziness that FF14 people are. Mm-hmm. Because there's one lone enforcer, and he's like, you guys cannot line up, more than an hour ahead of time. And it's like, okay, cool. Well, we're just going to hang out here. And they're like, we're going to clear the hallway. We're going to clear the hallway. And it's like, people just did not care. They're just like, whatever. Well, we're just going to stand as close as we can to this fucking area until you let us officially line up. And it actually apparently became pretty close to a fire hazard where the...
wow.
I guess the chief of the... What, fire...
Fire marshal or whatever.
Fire marshal.
Had to be contacted and stuff like that. But anyway, somehow me being within the first 20 people or something like that, the next thing I look over, there's just a sea of people. We're taking up 75% of the hallway, and it was just an absolute shit show when they finally let us down to the queue area, the official queue area, and somehow I lost my position in line and stuff like that. Didn't get a ticket for the Friday session. So I was actually really mad. I was so mad. Like the equivalent, you guys remember the New York Comic Con we went, where we didn't get the wristbands for the whatever the Marvel was.
Yep.
I was on that level of mad, where I'm just like, holy shit, you guys fucked this up. Like, you guys fucked this up royally. And PAX has been running. This is the 50th PAX, by the way. This is the 50th one, not for East, but just overall. I was like, yo, you guys ran this like fucking amateurs. You've done this better. So I was so mad all day, and whatever. The panel's fine. Panel's good and all. But they recorded it, and they streamed it. So it's like, I just wasted half my day on something that I absolutely didn't need to do, because that was my objective.
Yeah.
The solace there was on Friday morning, that same day, I went down to the Hotel Starbucks, because I was staying at the Westin. Placed my order, pay for it, and then go to the left where you're supposed to be waiting for it.
Right there.
And he's right there. He's just standing right there. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, kind of like taken aback. It's like, oh, okay. So I kind of like just looked at him. He caught me looking. He looked back at me. I just like nodded my head, like, just one of those things. He nodded back to me. So as I was walking by, I just like raised my hand in like a fist bump, and he gave me a fist bump. I was like, okay, that's cool, because I didn't want to bother him and be like all like, yo, I'm a huge fan, because like this is before the show even started. He was trying to get his breakfast. I don't want to like be a fanboy or anything like that, so I just like did that exchange, and then I was like, damn, maybe I should have asked him for that picture, because now I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
But luckily Saturday was a little bit better, and long story short, I did manage to get a ticket on Saturday, so I got to meet and get an autograph session with him. So that was like a cool personal highlight. That was just like really fun and stuff like that. But
thanks, Churro. Yes, fist bump is better than a signature.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure he appreciated it, because there were people that, and the thing is, like, even though I was mad internally. I didn't like yell, I didn't scream, I didn't like threaten any enforcers like that. But there were people that were definitely like yelling, screaming, crying. Like, I was just like, man, that sucks. Like, it's a shame. But overall, no, there's no big games this show that was just like, I want to say, like, in the past PAXs, there was always a game that was like bigger than everything else, and everybody wanted to play it. There wasn't anything like that this time around, and I think overall that's a good thing. And just because those mega booths can be like just crazy. And plus, do you really, like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to stand in line for 2 to 3 hours just to play a 10-minute demo of a game that's going to come out later on in the year, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's, yes, absolutely. It depends on, like, usually the best thing about the PAX was usually the indie section, where you can actually try a game where it was like there's nobody here. I'm going to give this guy my time. And like Mike, you played something that paid off, like that. You talked to him for like an hour, and it was like an enjoyable game. Yeah.
I also snuck in some Injustice before it came out. I remember at one of them, which I don't know. There was not a huge line there. It was just not apparent really that it was there like that. So that was fun.
Yeah. And that's that's the cool thing, is like you can get some really cool early glimpses of stuff that isn't maybe like in the public eye just yet and stuff like that. So one of the games that I did see was this game called, I just had to look at my phone, it's called Arcadian Atlas. It looks exactly like Final Fantasy Tactics. I even commented about it, and one of the workers, or I guess employees or whatever, like, heard me, and they're like, yeah, we're really big fans of that. It's obviously the big inspiration for that. So I'm looking forward to that one. Another one, which, Jim, I know you're definitely interested in, and Mike, you might be interested in this, is called WrestleQuest.
WrestleQuest.
It's a 2D pixel game, RPG.
Stop right there. I'm good. You said pixel.
I'm selling you more on this, all right?
Okay.
So the premise, what I've got from the demo, is that it's kind of like think Toy Story, but with wrestling. So, like, there's toys of, like, all these wrestlers, and it's an RPG. But it uses licensed WWF characters from the 90s. So, like, the character you play as is Macho Man Randy Savage. I was like, wait. Like, at first glimpse, I was like, oh, he's going to be called, like, Nacho Man Randy like Savage or something I was like, nope.
Savage Man or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're like, nope, we got all these licenses and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, that's crazy to me. So, that was cool. Pixel graphics look great. Now,
that's cool.
The combat system, Jim, is like Paper Mario. Where you have,
a wrestling game?
Yes.
Like, that's crazy.
So, menu driven is like attack. You'll go up and attack, and if you time the button press, you'll get extra damage on, your enemy, and vice versa. If you press the defend button at the right time, you lower the damage that you receive. In addition, you have MP, I don't know what it was actually called, but it's the equivalent of
Magic
MP
points.
For special moves and stuff like that. And then there's a taunt system on the bottom that shows, like, I guess, like who the crowd is in favor for and stuff like that. So, like, different attacks and moves will have that indicator going back and forth, or will enhance your wrestling and stuff like that. But yeah, I played that demo, totally wowed, had never heard of this game before. That's cool. Instantly on my radar. I would highly recommend you guys check it out.
Repeat the name again?
WrestleQuest. Very easy. WrestleQuest.
Okay.
So that, and they had a really awesome booth, because, like, the thing is too is that it really caught my eyes. They had a booth where they had like a a fake balloon like wrestling ring. Not fake, but I mean it wasn't like a true wrestling ring. It was like a blow up wrestling.
Yeah.
But people were in it and actually
Inflatable,
stuff. People, yeah, inflatable. People were actually like taking pictures and stuff like that. I was like walking by. I was like, well, let me check this out because then I saw the pixel graphics. And I was like, okay. And then I saw Macho Man. I was like, okay, that's gonna be like broke ass Savage
That's cool.
Man or something like that. And then
that's really cool.
Yeah, so I would definitely recommend you guys check it out on YouTube and stuff like that.
Funny part is I'd be totally cool with just Savage Man. They didn't have to pay for that.
Yeah,
license.
they didn't have to
like,
pay.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd be totally fine with this. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys check it out. You can see it on YouTube. I believe it's coming to all the major platforms.
Check it out.
So yeah, there you go. Other than that, I mean, I just played a bunch of other demos. Nothing that really pops to mind. The one thing I will say though is there's a lot of indie titles now that are taking from like games like Undertale or something like that, where it's a bit more like games that like you really have to sit down and observe yourself in, where it's like story based and whatnot. Because I played 2 different demos that were like, it was obviously a very story heavy game, but at a trade show, like it just doesn't get the same, I don't know, feel for it's like an action game demo or a first person shooter demo or whatever. There was this one where I'm pretty sure it was like an Earthbound Undertale thing, but the first boss killed me and I'm like, I think I'm supposed to die here because maybe it's like a Dark Souls Elden Ring thing where it's just like, oh, the first boss is just ridiculously tough and stuff. But I wasn't 100% sure, so it just kind of soured me. And there was nobody manning that station, so like I couldn't even ask a question. I was like, am I supposed to die here? Like the game is not very clear if that was supposed to happen or not. So I would just recommend those indie game developers make it very obvious when you're supposed to be dying in a game and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, it was a great time. Got to check out the console free play area. They had even more PS5s and Xbox Series X and S hooked up. Digital games, so you didn't even have to check out some titles if you were really hankering for it.
There you go.
All you had to do was check out a controller, which I guess you could technically bring your own if you really wanted to and stuff like that. So that was really cool. But yeah, PAX, very good time and
fun.
Hopefully back to its glory days.
Yeah, cool. All right, Mike, what are you playing?
I'm gonna join you, Tony, in saying, "Fuck you, Lubu."
Okay, what a difference this has made in a week.
Because I've been, hammering away through Wolong. Again, like I'm non-committal about the game, but it's fun. I definitely enjoyed the deflection combat way more than, traditional
Golden Ring style. Yeah.
But I have hit this wall named Blue Boo, and it's not even the horse. That's like he's annoying sometimes. It's just his like life pool and damage output is just seems unreasonably spiked compared to what I was doing right beforehand. So I'm just still plugging away. I know how to farm the whole area around him to like get myself up to 25 morale to go fight him, and then eventually I lose 4 or 5 times in a row again, and I have to do it again. I'm like, I don't know about this. So yeah, I don't know. So I actually stopped playing that for a little bit. Briefly went back to play GoldenEye. Wished that there wasn't infinite spawning enemies in certain levels where I get like 88 kills and then die. And then and then I went and played at its release on GamePass, MLB The Show.
Nice.
Which was, good for me because, they got Jeter in there this year. And although I'm not exactly sure how to incorporate the legends onto other teams yet, they have like specific teams like built into the game. There's the they actually named the team the Boomers, the expansion era Boomers, which are older players that from like around like the 80s, which is funny. There's the like Groundbreakers, which is like the older like the 50s, 60s types, or even earlier than that. Like you get Babe Ruth on that one. And then there's the what is the name of this? The one I was on with Jeter. It was I don't know, but anyway, that was like the 90s team basically. So there's an interesting suite of a few more legendary players than there used to be. It's not to the extent of the 2K series with basketball yet. You can't have like actual like historical teams that are more or less what they were. There's not enough yet, but hopefully someday MLB will get there with that. But there's so many players on an MLB team, it's hard. I do think maybe they should be able to do the like all-time teams for each franchise at some point. That would be nice, but
Yeah.
it's the same as it was, just with a few new things, and it's definitely better playing on the series version than the one version. The frames are a big difference. I can tell this time in this game. So I'm jumping around. We'll see if I have the gumption to go back to Wolong and do that.
Let it go.
that lap around that area again to try to beat. Once he catches fire, he has another charge attack thing, and I don't quite understand the timing for this one. And it's like no, I think once he like lights a fire in like maybe the second half of his life bar. Actually, it could be earlier than that too. No, it's when he's off the horse again. It's not this like first charge, which is pretty straightforward. He has like a hitch in it or something, and it's almost a one shot every time it hits too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't quite. I don't exactly know when the timing for that one is, and obviously, like it's a one shot so often. I don't practice it enough.
Yeah. So what I would recommend for that is just.
Can you dodge that?
I'm sure you can. If it's the one where he like kind of like aims down and then like goes like that, I've rolled into it, or like try to dodge into it. That helps sometimes. If it's the one I'm thinking of. But the other thing that I would just recommend doing is just equipping an ice spell, because whenever he flames on, like a Human Torch or whatever like that, if you hit him with a frost spell, he just loses the buff. So.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the part of the game that I've like barely engaged with at all. I've had like the same like spells like most of the time, not paying attention too much to it.
Yeah, that's the first boss where it's like you really need to use the Pokemon rock paper scissors type.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See if I. Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. So I did. I played Hogwarts Legacy finally. And I've played a few hours of that, multiple hours, like probably 5 hours, maybe almost 6 at this point into the game. Wow, that's the best thing I can say about this game.
I've gotten the sense from afar that if you're a fan of the series, you will love this game.
They have done such an incredible job at recreating this world. Like the detail, the size, it is amazing what they've done in this game. And to the point, like I said, I almost felt bad buying it used because I had that personal reason. Like I don't like agree with the creator at this point in her stance on things. But I wanted to play the game, and now I'm like, man, I feel bad because these people clearly put the time and effort into this game, and they deserve the recognition for what they've pulled off because it's incredible. They really have done a great job. The whole game so far has been so much fun. It is very it's a Spider-Man, Batman-esque style combat with Harry Potter style.
Interesting.
You ask how that happens. I don't even know how they pulled it off, but they did it. So there's a basic cast button, and then there's spells mixed in, so you can actually mix in the spells while you're fighting somebody. And then there's always the Spidey sense prompt to parry the attack, essentially. There's also a roll button to roll out of the way, and it's like quick moving combat. It's really impressive. Churro, it is impressive. Like, I'm not gonna go that. I'm only 5 hours in. I can't say game of the year as
the fact that you even mentioned it at all is surprising.
But Churro wrote that, asked me that, and I'm just like, I tell you, like, I'm very impressed, and it looks incredible. And I just, the character creator, just going back into this universe. I'm a big Harry Potter fan, like I always have been. And in fact, what's fun part about this is I'm playing it with my stepdaughter. She came out and we're playing it, and the combat parts are just me. because it does get complicated. It is the Spider-Man system, so there's a basics to it that you can pull off, but then at some point you have to mix in the special moves. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm very very impressed. Like I just
I was curious about the combat because from afar Harry Potter stuff looks like, ooh, I'm shooting lasers out of my wand.
yes
I'm like,
yes.
okay.
It's like the basic web shooter from Spider-Man. That's it. And then you mix in your special abilities with it, and then the parry and the roll, the dodge. Like it's the same idea as Spider-Man. It's amazing how they pulled that off with this game. It's I'll talk more about it as I play more of that. I had to take a break for it over the weekend though because the Diablo 4 beta was happening, and I wanted to play that for everybody to talk about that on the podcast too. So Diablo 4. I've always talked about how it looks really good. I think I mentioned that it looks really great from the screenshots I've seen. You know what's funny? When you play the game, though, yes, it's Diablo. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the fact. And I was talking to Nick about this over the weekend. He was at a party, family party we were at. He's played a ton of this too. He played up to level 20. Almost cleared Act 1, and I played a little. I don't want to play that far into this. This is the beta where all your progress gets reset anyways. So I wanted to get a taste of what this game was like. I picked the sorceress yet again because I played her before, but I like playing the sorceress. I like the character.
She's one of my mains too. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so like going into this world, it was interesting. It's bloody. It's smooth. It looks good. I will say they had a massive amount of server problems day one. Massive, like to the point where like giving you some horror stories, not myself included, but there was a guy that we know called Ace who had queued up for an hour in the wait time, waited. The game quit out on him as he joined the game. It crashed. Had to go back in the queue for another hour to join the game again to play the game.
Yeah.
And that was happening pretty much all day Friday. Saturday and Sunday, it was fine. It was less than a minute for me. I was joining. I was fine. I didn't even bother on Friday. I was like, no, I'm not waiting this long. So, but Saturday and Sunday were great. I got to play a lot of the game, multiple hours of the game, actually, to the point where I didn't want to go further because I don't want to get into that draw of trying to get the loot. And, you know what I mean? I'm not playing the game now. It's beta. But I did experience it. It's Diablo. That's it. I mean, I can't say anything. It is Diablo, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. I don't think they brought in anything new that's mind bending. But it's good. I'm trying not to undersell this. I'm just like, or oversell it. I'm just like, it's yes.
Yeah, that's
fine.
exactly what I said last week. And I watched it. I didn't play it, but I'm like, yeah, that looks like Diablo. It looks like cool, like Act 1, Gothic horror. Yeah. You got Barbarian, you got Sorceress. Cool. You're using the same abilities I used 20-something years ago. Cool. Like,
yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. It's just, I mean, the amount of hours I put in Diablo 3, it's I can't even tell you. That's how many. I mean, it is like not Borderlands style for Corey, but probably old Borderlands for Corey. I mean, I put a ton of hours into Diablo 3, hours, and hundreds. Probably 200 hours into that game. I'd probably easily say that. I put it in Diablo 3. I played a ton of that game. And this is fine. It has the same feel. Exactly. Is that bad? I don't know. You know, so I don't know. I didn't get a vibe that it was that much different. There's crafting now in this, which is weird. Yeah, I that's their quirk thing. Nick found that weird as well. We were talking about that, gathering materials. The games as a service aspect of it, like the live aspect of it, to being in a raid world kind of thing. It's an online game. I didn't try any of those combats, those fights, so I can't speak to the multiplayer aspect of it in the world. But it's very similar to just having a world boss in any other MMO, where you kind of jump in and start fighting it. Like you remember in WoW, when you'd see a world spawn, everybody would be out there spamming the shit out of things. Yeah. That's essentially what it is. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. Like
sounds very apologetic.
Because I'm afraid it's not going to come across as I'm excited. Like I guess.
Are you excited? It doesn't sound like you're excited.
I'm excited. I'm not excited. I don't know. Yeah. No, I'm like it's.
You have cited it.
Yeah, I'm going to get the game.
You're whelmed.
Yes, I'm whelmed. That's it. You know, and then coming from playing Hogwarts, I almost felt like I'm like, no, it's a timed demo beta. I have to play this, but I wanted to go back to playing Hogwarts. Like that's where I was at. That was it.
No, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So that's it for me. That's really the big stuff. So let's see some news. We had the Nintendo 10-minute show today for Tears of the Kingdom, where they showed a new Switch coming out, an OLED Switch with the Zelda Special Edition, right?
Yep.
What's the price? Did we get a price on that?
$360.
Okay. I didn't watch the special. Listen, at this point in my expectations for Tears of the Kingdom, I'm ready. Like I don't care. Like I don't care what's happening to this game. And in fact, the less I know, the better. I know there's a new gameplay mechanic. They introduced that to you guys. I don't want to know it yet. I don't. You can. You know what? We're on the show. You should say it. But I don't care. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way to find things out because I want to experience the game. I know weapon combat's still back in there.
Well, I mean,
like the weapon. I mean, sorry, the weapon fatigue.
Durability.
Durability. Thank you.
Yeah.
Weapon fatigue. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. So
rock stick.
I mean, I watch it. I'm with you. I really don't need to see any more of this game. I would just absolutely buy it day one, no matter what. But I watch it because the way internet culture is these days, something is going to spoil on me, whether it's Twitter or YouTube or Google search or even just targeted ads. I know it's just somebody's going to spoil it for me. So I just rather watch it from the source itself and get the full picture. So I just watched it. So they cover two major mechanics today, which are just gameplay aspect. There was nothing to do with story, nothing to do with anything like that. It was literally, hey, Link has two new these are two of Link's new abilities here. One of them is Rewind. So they're talking about how to get to the sky. And he goes over and you see like this cube-looking thing fall, and he's like, okay, well, we're going to use Rewind on this. So you just like you would in the previous game, you aim your reticle at it, you activate the magic ability, and you jump on it, and it just climbs up, rewinding in time, but it's lifting you back up in the air. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
we kind of inferred that from one of the previous trailers, and the other one was how you can go through the ceiling. You kind of turn into like a liquid almost, and like go through like a ceiling surface, and you pop out on the other end. And the main thing for that is just vertical traversal, where it's like, hey, if you're in a cave in a mountain and you use this ability, you'll just zoom up to the top of the mountain instead of having to like use your stamina bar to like climb it, and stuff like that. Which, okay, cool. Quality of life, I guess. The third one, which is new today, even though like the last trailer did have some hints, was a fusion system. So Anouma was playing it, and he was talking while he was playing it. He's like, hey, look, I got a stick, or whatever it was, and it's badly damaged. So, here's where in the previous game, you could throw it to do like critical strike and get extra damage. But in this game, what you can do is use the fusion ability, and you fuse it with something else, another item, to create an entirely new weapon. And what he did was he put like a rock at the end of the stick. So you have a stick with a rock, and it repaired the durability, and he was just like hitting people with a rock on a stick, and it was doing more damage. And then he showed like you could get like a spear and attach it to a long stick, and now you had like this pole arm basically that was like super long and stuff like that. And he's like, and then you could do all these other things with it. And that's how kind of like he built, he had to get across this lake, and he just took 3 logs and fused them together, and then put these 2 wind propellers on the end of them, and just created a makeshift boat. So that was like the basically new things that was shown off. And he's like, yeah, just can't wait to see what all the players have to come up with and stuff like that.
That's going to open up a world of possibilities for combat. There's no question. Absolutely. So
one of the cool things that was shown was when Link was using his bow and arrow, he's like, there's birds in the air, but they're a bit more fast and agile, and me trying to aim at them isn't the best way to do it. So he fused a Keese eyeball, the bats, an eyeball to it, and he just aimed in the general direction, and it basically turned the arrow into a homing missile and just killed the birds. So I was like, oh. And then
interesting.
You just think of all the items, and he's like, oh, and look over there, like I can attach a frozen choo-choo jelly to an arrow, and now I have a frost arrow. So,
okay. It is going to open up a whole new like world, not just traversal now. It's going to be like weapon combat. That's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
yeah, that's cool. And, thankfully didn't spoil anything of the story or anything like that. Just
I don't want that. That's what I'm saying. But like, good to know. So I'll check that out. I'll watch that now and see. So I not that there was like I don't know how you could. I'm expecting this game to be rather large and not have to.
I think so too, and that's why I'm pretty sure the developers were like, we don't want to market this. Like everybody knows Breath of the Wild, and you're gonna know if you want to play more of that or not. And marketing was like, guys, we really need something to at least market with, like to let people know we have a new game. And they're like, fine, I guess we'll do a gameplay video or something. Like that may have been like that was their concession. So, like, okay, we'll do one of these.
Yeah. Cool. All right. What anything else on the feed today, or that was it?
Just Pro Controller case. Okay. Special edition OLED, and Amiibo. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. Expected. All right. Let's move on. Microsoft has dropped its $1 Game Pass trial after forever. I'm shocked they still have this actually.
Realize that.
And this is just what I'm hitting it. What I've been saying. They're hitting it.
Price going up.
Price is going to go up.
Yep. No more $1. It'll be $2 Game Pass trial now.
No, there's no way. There's no way it'll be $2.
No. I do think they give you like a free trial for like a certain amount of days, like a 7-day free trial now, and then you kind of go from there. That's what I'm thinking. Something like that. Everybody's been seeing they're doing the 7-day trials now. And then I do think they're going to increase the price shortly. I think we'll get that before summer. We'll get
it way before Starfield, sure.
Yep. I think before summer. So let's see. MultiVersus. Did you guys know this was an open beta still?
No, that's why I asked in the
chat. No, it wasn't. Because it wasn't.
Apparently,
they specifically had a point of time where they said it was a beta.
Yeah, they had it apparently on the main screen saying this is still open beta. Apparently it's there.
Well, they also said it was season 1.
Give me a beta where you're playing multiple seasons and purchasing multiple things.
Yeah.
And then they're going to shut this game down. That's the news, by the way.
That's honestly, yeah. And to come back, I guess, in 2024.
Maybe. Do you honestly think Warner Brothers is releasing this game in 2024?
No.
Well, the thing is, when it first released, it was a big deal. So I think they're going to try to do it again. Just try to catch lightning in a bottle twice. But
it's gonna, the reason why it depends on how they shut it down. Like this could cause a lot of bad blood with their actual fans, and that could hurt the franchise.
They're all gone already. They dropped 99% of the player base was gone. So anyone who's still playing it now, who gives a shit? they're trying to get those 99% back. So if there's like, oh, remember you play this, now the game is complete. I dropped out of it after the beta period, the first alleged beta period ended, and the battle pass that was involved with that was done. And I'm like, I don't want to do this again. There's not enough new stuff here. I'm not paying anymore. And like, no. Yeah. So it's just another live service horror story in the end. But
absolutely,
whatever.
We'll see if it ever comes back.
I just don't understand like why they had to take it offline. Like I can understand if they want to do a full launch or whatever, but like to take it offline for 6 months minimum because they're like, oh, it'll relaunch in early 2024. It's stupid in my opinion. Like you were charging people $100 for the Founders Premium Pack or whatever like that. How are you going to tell people like, oh, thanks for the $100, now you can't play this game for 6 to plus months, except against offline computer controlled characters. Like that just seems so scummy to me. Like I would never trust them again. If that happened to me, I'd be like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, all right. What else we have here? We've got, let's see, MultiVersus E3. Ubisoft is no longer attending E3 2023.
Who's left? Anyone?
I've heard there's multiple today pulling out. Was it Sega confirmed not going? A couple companies that confirmed not going.
I saw something along those lines too. There's almost no reason for this to happen now. Like I think it might not.
Just you wait. It's gonna get canceled by Friday. I guarantee it. Like most likely they'll wait till Friday because Friday is the day you drop bad news in the news cycle because then you have all weekend and nobody's working. Or most people aren't working, but yeah. E3 is dead. It has been. It's been a walking corpse, and now
I
it's
just
dead.
I don't know why they're still trying.
Because they want money.
Listen,
What are they gonna get from this? I don't know.
we'll see. It's just Jeff took it over anyway. Like, it's not
Sure.
necessary anymore.
I know.
You want the release stuff. You have that window, that time, that
Yeah.
stage.
Yeah,
Just
but all these companies
go
just
talk to
realize
Jeff.
it's just easier and cheaper to do it on your own.
Yeah.
Hell, I mean,
That's it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do their own
Devolver
events
does
in
their
June.
own. Devolver
Yeah.
does their own show.
Yep.
So they're a fucking small-time indie company.
Yeah. And the last thing news I have, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles AAA game in development, based on the Last Ronin, and a third-person action RPG in the style of God of War.
I have thoughts on this.
I'm excited for this, Mike. I'm sorry, I really am. Like,
I
I know you would
just-
like a 4 turtle system kind of thing. I get it. It's always been 4 for them. The story is fantastic for Last Ronin. It is. You're still going to get a Turtles gameplay with basically 4 styles because he does them all, and you're going to get a game hopefully as good as God of War.
Why would you think that though? That's the problem, because this isn't. It's not like what you would normally think from the IP of the Ninja Turtles. You think cooperative. You think a team. You think you know characters, colors, and humor. Really, I don't.
There's no
I
humor in
understand.
this. There's no humor in this.
I know. And so you're using the IP, but you're not really using it, is what I feel. So in my mind, the gameplay itself has to legitimately stand up
Sure.
against stuff like God of War. And I don't think we don't even know who this is developing it, but I really just don't think it's going to be able to do that honestly, like, and hold a candle to like real full-fledged AAA action
Well,
games
I think it
that it would
depends on
have to be compared to.
Well, I think it depends on who they got to do it. I mean, that really is. It's all about the studio at this point. And
Yeah,
we'll
and I'm
know
also
more
of
later.
the opinion that I say I like when IPs grow up with their fan base, and I know that it's Ninja Turtles started seriously, although it was still kind of a parody at that time as well. But for me, the Turtles are always sort of supposed to be a kids thing, and they're supposed to be funny and colorful and have pizza and all that stuff. Like the original cartoon is why it became a big deal. It wasn't the comics. And I just don't. I'm sure The Last Ronin is a great story. Maybe I'll read it soon. But I just don't think the Turtles need to be hyper gritty. I don't think that's where they had their success. So I'm just better than nothing, and I hope maybe this can prove me wrong. But it's not the type of AAA Turtles game that I would look for.
Like I think Tony, you had said as well in our conversation. I mean, well, we were talking about how hard it is to make a balance a 4-player AAA game.
You can't do it. You can't do it. Nobody.
Yeah,
can do
it won't. It'll come out
do
10 years. It'll come out 10 years from now. If that's
Nobody
the case.
can do it. Avengers failed. Suicide Squad's going to fail. Gotham Knights presumably failed. Destiny 2 is the only one that can fucking do games as a service. 4-player, multiplayer, campaign.
Yeah.
The only ones that can do it.
So
Everybody else has tried, has failed. Everybody.
I mean, you don't need a games as a service game to do something where there's 4 characters. Like,
no, I get it, but I mean, I'm still saying, like, what other 4-player cooperative game does that?
What
Halo even gave up. Halo gave that up. That was their thing for 20 years. They gave that up. Nobody does it. It doesn't make sense anymore, unfortunately. And the market has shown consistently that they love AAA third-person narrative, gritty adult single-player games. So whoever is ponying up for this, I'm sure was like, yeah, we got and because The Last Ronin has been very critically and commercially successful, from my understanding. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I presume to be true. So when they have a hit story that leans into that genre, I could see them being like, yeah, absolutely, let's invest $100 million into a AAA Turtles game.
And I truly think, Mike, we're still going to get another Turtles game. Besides
I'm sure
this.
we will absolutely
Yeah,
get a
especially
Shredder's
with the movie
Revenge
coming
2
out.
or something like
We're getting a
that.
movie coming out. Don't forget. So I think we get a game based off of that. I don't know. I do think we're getting video game soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I just, this isn't exactly the type of thing I was looking for from them.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for it, but I understand your gripes. I'm excited for this for what it could be. I'm hoping it is. So, but all right. That's about it. That's all we got for the news tonight. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. We're gonna wrap it up here. Once again, we're live streaming on Twitch Tuesday night starting at 8 o'clock. Please join us live. Have some conversations with us live. If you do miss these live shows, we are on YouTube the following day. And you can subscribe to that channel. Smash that like button. We appreciate everything, guys. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.